fantasy suites without the physical intimacy.
I'm not going to do that with 3 different people, so I'm not going to do it with anybody right now.
Pascal gets cold feet at a Tahitian welcoming ceremony.
I'm scared. I'm not ready.
And Joan reunites with her mansion men in an underwhelming Men Tell All episode.
We are the Mansion Men, the Golden Season Mansion Men.
You are watching Reader Seeks Romance Channel's Romance Recap, and we're discussing and dissecting The Golden Bachelorette with Joan Vassos, Season 1, Week 7, Fantasy Suites, and Week 8, Men Tell All. I am Liz Donatelli.
And I'm Tiffany Current.
Be sure to subscribe to Reader Seeks Romance Channel so that you don't miss weekly episodes of Romance Recap only on YouTube. Okay, Tiffany, one word to describe weeks 7 and 8 of The Golden Bachelorette. Go.
Boring. I think it's probably, we took a week off and I thought things would happen and nothing happened. How about you? What's the one word?
I knew you would say something like that, so I went a little different. Unready.
Unready. Okay.
Unready, because I don't believe in my heart that Joan is ready
That's interesting.
to be in a relationship, to get engaged, and that's fine. She is unready, and it's okay.
Any red flags? I think the only red flags is my heart, that it just has to let love in.
And neither was Pascal, as he said at the welcoming ceremony to the camera. He's not ready.
I'm not ready for that. I'm not ready.
I don't know if she's ready to get engaged. Watching these people in their 60s having to engage at the end is ridiculous. They're adults, guys. They've raised their family. This shouldn't be the end goal for them. I don't like it. I think her just finding someone she likes should be the end goal, and that should be it. So I don't know if she should get engaged either. I don't know, but
Yeah,
nothing happened. Nothing happened.
That's a good point, that the end goal should not be the same as Bachelor and Bachelorette, which is to get engaged and married. Golden Bachelor and Bachelorette should just be to find someone you're going to date, someone
That's
you
it.
connect with.
Let's just get into it. We start off, let's talk about last week. Joan goes on a date with Guy. I'm going to skip over her meeting Nancy because nothing happened in that conversation. But she goes on a date with Guy. They go snorkeling. They're having a good time. And she's like, he's far ahead of me, but let me see if I can get there. And I guess they kind of bond and they see sharks in the water, whatever that's supposed to signify. It was just a regular boring date of kissing, making out, and I guess getting closer. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not even going to expound on that because I think that's pretty right
That's it.
on.
That's
And
it.
during this date with the sharks, Jesse talks with Chalk, and Chalk tells Jesse he's in love with Joan and that he believes they're meant to be. And Jesse, God love him, has his Jesse listening face on.
I know.
Yeah. Again, Chalk is like reading from a script.
Huh?
A script? What is wrong with me today? Chalk is
so
reading from
funny.
a script. The day after the Guy date, still nothing really happens.
Oh yeah, nothing happened. I will just say briefly on the Chalk and Joan date, they went on an ATV date. They seemed happy. They kissed, they made out. They went back to their overnight, which is not really an overnight, but they made out hard on the couch and they kicked out the camera, and Chalk's like, I had a great time and I'm not going to talk about it. None of this matters until we get to Pascal, who I adore, who deserves his own TV show. He's very entertaining. He sits down with Jesse, and right away I'm like, I love how Pascal talks to Jesse, because Pascal does not give a rat's ass. He's just like, you know what? I am trying my best, but I don't know. He does not care. He's just speaking from the heart, and I love him.
I know that you and Joan, you had a really serious conversation back in Chicago about how hard it is for you to put your walls down, right? What is it that you're struggling with so much?
I'll be very honest with you. I was very much in love with a woman about a year ago. I was almost engaged in November. We had that fire in us, we look at each other and we knew we had what it takes. Mm. We break up once and we went back together, and we break up twice and went back together, and the third time we break up. And I said, it's done. We can't keep doing that. We keep hurting each other all the time, and I decided to move on, and she's still there. I would never, it's like Joan lost her husband, and I'm sure he's still there. She would never not love him, yeah. And but I want to I want to move on.
Yeah.
But I'm having a tough time, and I'm at the stage where I'm trying to rebuild. You know, from the outside, I look all fun and funny, and think I'm happy, but deep down, I'm hurting.
What you see is what you get with Pascal. There's no artifice. He's very, I don't even know where that word came from. I don't even know if I used it appropriately. There is no ulterior motive. He seems just genuinely honest, and he doesn't. Is that artifice? Yes, artifice. It means tricky and devious.
Sorry,
Yeah.
it's probably true, but you just keep throwing
Yeah.
out these words, and it's just really.
I don't know what's happening to me.
Let's get to Pascal. Let's get to the one day that was interesting last week.
Yeah.
After his sit down with Jesse, they go to a bonding ceremony or something or other. I don't know what it is, but what I
Yeah.
like about Pascal, he's just like, I don't care what today is. I want to just dance. I want to have fun. He's not going into it expecting big conversations. He just wants to have fun, and I like that.
Pascal was in his glory because apparently Tahiti is a French-speaking country. I didn't realize that. And
I had no idea. It was shocking.
yeah, so oh my God, talk about sexy. He was describing the buffet items to Joan, and he got into a discussion with one of
Yes.
the gentlemen there about, are we eating chicken, meaning a hen, which is
Yeah.
female, or are we eating a rooster, which is male? And I feel like generally you just eat like hens, I think is really the chicken we eat. And he
Yeah.
was saying, and apparently in describing it, he's like, oh, it goes, are we eating cock? Cock,
Yeah, that was
meaning like a
funny.
rooster, I guess it's called
Yeah.
a cock, right? We
Yeah,
can
I
say
guess so. Yeah, I guess so. I don't
it's
know.
called
I
a
believe him.
cock-a-doodle-doo. So
Sure.
he's like, oh, we're eating cock. And it's like they both laugh. It's like, oh, sexual innuendo.
Le poulet, le poulet, c'est le poulet, c'est le poulet, le poulet, le poulet, le poulet. Chicken. Chicken.
Le rooster, hein?
Le rooster. Cocorico. C'est le rooster, là, tu manges du rooster. Cocorico. Elle rigole, elle rigole.
The chicken is delicious. I've never eaten rooster before, I don't think, but it's like tastes just like
It's a
chicken.
rooster or it's a chicken? C'est un coq or c'est un poulet?
C'est quoi la différence? C'est
Le
la crête?
cocorico, ça c'est le coq.
C'est quoi la
Et
différence? C'est la crête?
c'est le chicken.
Quand je regarde, c'est un cocorico, hein.
C'est un coq. That's a coq.
They do the ceremony, and Pascal freaks out.
That ceremony really freaked him out. I don't know if the producers did that purposely or that was just good TV unfolding
Yeah.
before us and it was accidental. It did have that wedding ceremony feel, the two of them standing before this man who was kind of presiding over this ceremony. And it was very casual, but it was very real. Like, I think that's when
Yeah.
things became very real for Pascal.
I'm a little confused. This is not what I thought we would be doing today. You know, I mean, I enjoy being with John, don't get me wrong. I mean, I just enjoy your company, but I thought I'll have something more casual, something more like just being silly, being kids again. You know, not something where we have to basically talking about our feeling emotion. I wasn't ready for that. You know, I appreciate the thought behind it, and I did my very best to show her who I am, but my wall's still up, and I'm guarded, I'm scared, I'm not ready. I'm not ready for that. I'm not ready.
This was a little bit too much for him. So much so that when they go to dinner, he's basically like, why did you pick me? Like, why am I still here? I love how he was asking, like, why me? There are all these other men. Why me?
He didn't even think he was going to get that far. He told her, he's like, I didn't
Yeah.
even think and I feel like saying, yeah, neither did me and Tiffany.
None of us
Like,
did.
we
None
didn't
of
think
us
so
did.
either.
Yeah. In that moment, I felt so bad because he was literally like, I think trying to get out of it. And she was just trying to explain, like, this is why I really like you and this and that. And then he basically goes to explain that he's just not there and he doesn't feel like he's going to get there with her.
Okay, we got to talk about how he breaks up with her because I
Yeah.
thought it was done really, really well. And
Me too.
and and I know some people online have had issues with how he did it. I thought
No.
it was great, and I was surprised by her reaction. He said to Joan, I know what love is. And I held my breath. I was like, oh my God, what's he going to say? And all he said is, I know what love is, and I care about you as a friend, and I'm not in
Yes.
love.
Yeah, that was it. That's fair.
He even went so far as to say, I'm damaged goods. Like, I'm not there. I was very hurt from my last relationship. And Joan is like, oh, your heart's not ready. She seems okay. And then she just falls apart
She falls apart.
to a degree that I couldn't fully understand.
I'm going to tell you where I'm at, okay? And I'm going to be very honest with you because today I got scared. You know, in the ritual, I get scared because I'm having a very difficult time, you know, to let go. I just care very much about you, and the least thing I wanted to do is to hurt you. And I just don't think I could get at the place where you want me to be. I know what love is. I've experienced it. You've experienced it. And I care about you as a friend, but I'm not in love, you know, and I just can't be there. And it's hurting me because we're having a good time together. We do.
Yeah, we do.
You know, I mean, we laugh, we seem like we connect, but I need that spark, and I just don't have it. I'm sorry. I just think that right now I'm what we call damaged good, you know, and I thought I could move forward, and I'm just...
Your heart's just not ready.
I'm not ready.
I thought he handled it well. There's also a language barrier, so you never know how things come out. But
Yeah.
he basically told her the truth. It's just like, you want the truth, he gave it to you. It might be because she's probably really liked him, and she kept saying that Pascal was the one that reminded her the most of her husband.
Yeah.
And so I think she just really took it to heart. That was the first time somebody actively like broke up with her as opposed to the other way around. So it really hurt.
Joan's interpretation of what transpired between them is what I guess I had the big issue with, that I was like, wow, that she interpreted his breakup as, I'm not lovable, I'm a failure, my heart is closing up now. And I was like, gee, that's a bit drastic. How much has she talked about how much she is really into Chalk? He makes her feel safe, all these things. I was like, well, if she's so into Chalk, wouldn't she feel grateful that Pascal's no longer wasting her time, so to speak? That way she can focus more on him. Like, it didn't make sense to me.
Well, nobody wants to be broken up with by
Well,
anyone,
true.
especially if you do have feelings for them. So even if she's really into Chalk, if there's somebody else who you really like, that still hurts. And so I think she just took it to heart. I think she probably got over it, let's be real. But in that moment, it was really painful. But that's pretty much all that happened in the episode. Let's shift to the men tell all. I will say, it's been a long time since I've seen Jesse looking happy at the men tell all. I'm feeling genuine. I think he finally realized, you know what? I feel like these are all good men. Nobody really wronged her. I can be here and be calm about it. He looked actually happy there. I was like, he wants to be here because these are all wonderful men.
He looked happy, handsome, and healthy. The focus of Men Tell All was the bromance. And someone even held up a sign, Golden Bromance, which would be a great name for a reality show about past suitors. And
I like that, yeah.
Yeah, I like that. Former suitors who showed up to Men Tell All: Christopher, Charles L., Pascal, Kim, Michael, Jordan, who said absolutely nothing.
Yeah, I know. That's surprising. Yeah.
Jack, Bob, Gary, Keith, CK, Dan, Jonathan, Greg, and Mark. I have a lot of random notes about this episode, but just overall, this episode consisted of some hot seats, which to me were tepid at best. There was a lot of bonus footage that amounted to very little. That's why it was probably cut in the first place. And bloopers. My initial thought was, wow, Chalk is not seen interacting with any of the guys really in a lot of the footage that was shown. So I don't know if that was intentional to maybe separate Chalk from the rest of the guys because he's in the finals. Or did he just not really hang out with the guys that much in the mansion?
I don't think so. I think, remember, there was a situation whenever they never showed his mom passing away, which is of note. But like whenever his mom passed away, people were really upset and they thought he was a good guy. So I don't think that's the situation. I will say that, when this was a long episode of Men Tell All and nothing happened on it. I'm like, why is this so long? Why are we seeing Charles walking around the mansion? It's like, there's literally no footage if that's all that we're showing. And it's like, it was, I mean, it was cute. We got to see like the snoring thing. We got to see Pascal, who I loved.
I've heard slurring before, never to that level.
I did appreciate that the kids were there. I thought that was cute because then the kids were chatting. That's the part that I liked as well.
Charles L's daughter stood up and said that Charles is exuding more confidence.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because when I first saw him, I was like, something looks different. I was like, his hair looks darker. And Jesse mentioned, about your hair.
Jesse ribbed him. It's like, Jesse, leave the man alone.
Yeah,
He's allowed to dye his hair. He ribbed him too much. It's like, come on.
Charles L would not mention that he dyed it. He just kept saying
I
he was
know.
healthier because he's happier or something like
Yeah,
that.
he said like it's the food I'm eating. It's like, all right,
food,
whatever,
yeah.
dude. That's
Yeah.
fine. He got to sit into the hot seat. We didn't really learn anything new, but he did seem more confident. He did seem very happy. I like seeing that.
One thing to mention with Charles L, while he was in the hot seat, I physically jumped. Somebody in the audience just started talking, and it's like, what's going on?
Whoa, I didn't even hear that.
And it was this young woman saying that on behalf of Bachelor Nation, she would like to propose that Charles L be the next Golden Bachelor.
Whoa, interesting.
And if not, she has a single mom.
Charles, you're so sweet, so thoughtful. On behalf of Bachelor Nation, we think you should be our next Golden Bachelor.
Thank you. Wow. Thank you.
But if not, my mom is single.
I totally missed that. No, I missed it. Okay, good
Did
for
you
her.
fast forward? Were you fast forward?
It's very possible. I didn't fast forward. I think I was just bored through the episode. So some of it I was like, I was reading a book on my phone at the same time, to be perfectly honest, because I was like, nothing was happening. I'm sorry, guys. Let's talk about the one hot seat that I found the most interesting, which was Jonathan. Jonathan, looking gorgeous as usual. That's an attractive man.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. He sits in the hot seat, and basically he starts talking about the experience. He cries, I cry, and then he starts telling the story, which is so moving, about how usually he wakes up every single morning, he has a cup of coffee, and usually he looks down, he sees Mark, but there's one day Mark wasn't there, and Mark had snuck these Post-its into his cup. And when he started reading off the Post-its, what they said, which is just basically saying how an amazing person he was, and that he should put these empowering words on the mirror to let him know that he is enough, I was bawling. I was bawling in that moment. I don't know if you cried, but I was bawling in the moment. It was so sweet.
I didn't cry because I'm emotionally bereft.
I found some Post-its in my coffee cup. And it was from Mark. I'm gonna show my age. I gotta put my glasses on for this. Says, Jonathan, just in case I don't get to stay, I am humbled to have met you. I have enjoyed this time shared. Place this sticky note on your mirror and remind yourself that you are a fantastic human being. And then the sticky note to stick on my mirror says, I am strong, I am interesting, I am handsome, I am deserving, I am enough.
It was deeply touching. It was beautiful.
Yes.
And I was very touched by the moment. And that was very unexpected.
I know.
This story to come out. And in that moment, I was thinking something. I was like, I really would like to see a romance between Mark and Jonathan.
I think you are too obsessed with these romances. But in that moment, when I saw that happen, I was like, this is why I don't think Mark should be on the Golden Bachelor. I don't think he should be dating. He's exactly where he should be right now, which is making these beautiful bonds. Because when I saw that he did that, I'm like, what an amazing man to do this. He's making these beautiful bonds with men, and that's healing his spirit. Let him heal his spirit that way. I don't need to see him date women. He seems very good at where he's at. Just leave it. Just leave it.
That was beautifully stated. I agree wholeheartedly. Yeah. Before we leave Jonathan, I just got to give a shout out to the neckerchief.
It was super cute. Man, he can wear anything. He's a gorgeous man.
He
Gorgeous
is
man.
a beautiful man inside and out. And let me tell you, nobody rocks a neckerchief like classy Jonathan. That was the
I agree.
classy accessory. I hope we see more of him. I mean, there's been so many people on these reality shows that you know of in the moment and you forget them very easily afterwards. I really don't want to forget Jonathan. I really hope he stays in the public eye doing something of value to the for the community. I don't know.
For us.
For us.
He's a lovely man. I enjoyed seeing him. Nothing else really happened. There was odds and ends. That's it. Joan comes out.
You forgot about the Gay Men's Choir of Los Angeles.
Oh, yes.
Sung Mansion Men, written by Kim.
This is incredible.
We are the Mansion Men, the Golden Season Mansion Men. We're here to win the heart of Joan.
And I was like, wow, they're so in need of content for this episode. What would you say that was, like a 5-minute song? Like,
that was a long song. I was like, there's nothing happening on this episode. Yeah. Joan came out. Nothing happened with her. I like that Gary got to speak up and say it was great to see your mom. They said thank you.
Yeah, Joan's mom was there. How old do you think Joan's mom is? I was like, God bless.
She looked old to me. But no offense, she's an older lady. That's it. Nothing else. Nothing
else. I mean, Joan, says she misses the guy. She values their friendship. She wants to stay in touch with all of them. Yeah, I'm sure that's not going to happen. And there's no ill will between her and Pascal. Like, so it was just like a love fest.
Yeah, it was very nice.
And then we see a teaser for the live finale, which is going to air on November 13th. And there's the clip of Chalk saying he doesn't feel comfortable proposing to someone who doesn't say that they love him. And I was like, well, that's valid. I feel as if Chalk might try to force, Joan's hand in this episode.
I think that's a totally valid thing. I wouldn't want to propose to somebody either if they hadn't said I love you.
It is valid.
That's silly. That's silly. So I mean, I get his point of view. I do think he comes off as a little aggressive, but I do get his point of view.
He's a love bomber who, in Pascal's interview with Glamour magazine, he called a stalker, and then he retracted it later on, apologized.
Oh, that's funny.
He apologized to Joan and everything. But Pascal called Chalk a stalker in this interview because he said about how on top of Joan he was, and how he was saying he loved her or was falling for her very early on, and then made a line that made us both laugh. He's like, I don't know, maybe there aren't a lot of women in Wichita. And that's why Chalk is, chomping at the bit for Joan.
Yeah, all over her. It is what it is. I don't know. Every man, every person reacts differently when you're on a live TV show. These were older men. A lot of them had lost their loved ones recently, and there's a lot of emotion. So we don't know what's really happening there. So we'll see. We'll find out next week.
According to some articles I've been looking at, there is a lot of fans who don't want Joan to pick anybody. They think that she is not ready, which goes back to the word I started the show with, unready, which I stand by. So I hope she doesn't pick anybody, but I didn't read spoilers. I'm 99% sure she's going to end up picking Chalk. When someone keeps saying over and over, their heart is torn, I don't know if I'm ready, I have all these big emotions, and they're trying to push themselves. If your heart isn't in it, and if you have to talk yourself into feeling it, or wanting to feel it, it's like, I think you need to back away.
I think she feels it with Chalk, but I don't think they should get married. It's silly. They're at this age, there's no need, and I hope they don't get engaged. But I hope they're together and she's happy. That is my takeaway, when I'm curious to see next week.
All right. Well, that's all we got for you. Tune into Romance Recap next week when we discuss the Golden Bachelorette Season 1 finale. Stay golden, friends.